Everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally, and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant based diet going for yourself today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and get with alkalinity, then you can generate some static electricity. Sending me some love telepathically, set attention to your mind, and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to Great Days. So today, I wanted to talk about the collective and Christ consciousness and unity. Okay, so let's get into this. Um, so the collectivity. When I'm talking about collectivity, I'm talking about a collection. We can talk about collective consciousness. We can talk about collective unconsciousness, which are both synonymous with what we call God, right? Whenever we're talking about God, when we're referring to God, we're talking about the collective unconscious, right? Which is the collected unconscious psyche or the mind. Um, so if you're able to begin a type of integration of the unconscious to the conscious, then you're able to start to touch upon deeper understandings of life, right? Which is not it's not simple, but it's also something that can be done if you kind of just apply the effort, right? So you can integrate the unconscious into the conscious um, by kind of doing the by doing the meditation, right? Carl Jung offers the different integrations, I think he calls it individuation, um, but there's more to the process, a lot more to the process of being able to integrate the unconscious into the conscious. But if you kind of intent yourself into that process, it's going to the universe aligns you with it if you really intent yourself, which it's important because this is literally it's literally the process of enlightenment, you know. There's many different ways to be able to do this, but it's all the same thing, right? It's all the same process. There's many different ways to talk about it as well, but it's all the same process. So the collective unconscious and the collective consciousness is synonymous with God, right? So if you meditate, you can you can access deeper dimensions of awareness. You can access deeper dimensions of understanding, deeper dimensions of mind beyond the physical experience. Um, and this is a very easy way to be able to go through that whole process. You can also use dreams. This is what Carl Jung did. He used dreamscape traveling, right, or astral travel. Um, and that's another way, but you got to be lucid or you got to be aware, right? Which is meditation. You got to be meditative in your dream to be able to do it that way, right? Which is just a deeper way to do it, or it's it's deeper in that process of the integrating or the integration, right? The illumination is what it is because the unconscious is darkness. um, the underworld is synonymous with the unconscious, right? Because it's not known of, and it stays unknown. It's been unknown. It's been unconscious, right? So you got to re-know it, or you got to come into that, or you can keep it unknown, right? It depends on you. It depends on how you really want to fluctuate, right? Um, but the unconscious is very, very necessary, because it allows you to go into very deep state, deep trance state, right? Um, Psychedelic states are allowing you to peer or see into the unconscious mind, right? If you know how to use dream traveling or lucid dreaming, then you can definitely break into the unconscious, like a bedrock type of dimension, where there's just a very deep surrealism, or even beyond, right? So meditation, if you meditate, you can, that's kind of the gateway, because meditation is not a practice, more so it's a state that is natural to all beings. Even animals are meditative, right? In a sense. Um so everybody, everything, every creature is meditative, because it's a wavelength. So meditation is, if you're able to come into the meditative state, you're able to open up a lot of that process, or accelerate that process, because it's a process that can naturally happen of itself, maybe during like certain astrological waves, right? And by this I mean like certain astrological events that are bringing energy down for a trending of that integration, right? But you don't have to actually be in one of those events to be able to gather the energy, or harness the astrological energy, to be able to accelerate that process, because it's something that you can do no matter the times, right? Because it's a timeless thing. So meditation can be an excellent way to be able to deepen that process, right? Not only that, you can also use psychedelics. These are definitely quantum leaps to be able to dive into the unconscious. But then when you come out of it, you got to make the integration process anyway, which is going to lead you into meditative states as well. So meditation is definitely going to be a necessity within the entire process of the enlightenment, which is the same thing as integrating the unconscious into the conscious, right? Because that's coming into light. That's light of mind, illumination, and that's balancing yourself out on multiple different levels of your being, right? Which is that whole process. So the 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 collective is spirit, right? Because what's happening in collection is everything that is happening beyond ego, right? There's a collective ego, but that in itself is just a collective delusion, because ego individually is a collective delusion. That's what ego is. The sense of self-identity is just is a shared delusion that came about with the fragmented consciousness, the state of fragmented consciousness, right? So the ego is a very minute entity, and it thrives off of the lower vibrational states. So it's a delusory attempt at maybe stagnation or something, you know. but it can be used, right? That whole delusion can be used to allow you to free yourself or liberate yourself into synchronicity with the collection or the collective unconsciousness, which is spirit, because the collective is everything that is taking place um, in collection, and which is beyond the ego, the individual ego. So and it's very paradoxical in its nature as well, because um, the whole thing is uh, is paradoxical. That's the nature of reality. It's paradoxical. It's contradictory. It goes against itself, but it is even though it goes against itself, that's what's giving way to its riso, right? So uh, the collection is spirit, the collective consciousness and unconsciousness is God, which is spirit, which is the consciousness, right? Uh, the integration process from unconsciousness to consciousness is synonymous with the enlightenment, and meditation is a great way for entrancing yourself into the integration process, right? Which is the entrance, the gateway is the state of meditation, um, which you don't actually have to sit yourself down to meditate, but it's also a type of state of realization, because meditation is a form or a state, right? When you're in meditation, you're in a certain state, um, which is the state of entrance, which allows you to unify with God or spirit or consciousness, because they're all one and the same. Um, and all of the little everything that's telling you that meditation is not good, or that meditation should not be done, is just a feeble effort, an egoic effort, by controlling systems to keep you away from God, to keep you in ignorance, right? And this is why people are conflicting themselves within, whenever there is the ignorant effort to stay away from that inevitable unification with God, right? Because that's all that is going to take place at the end, or that's all that's going to take place, period, is the communion with God, or the communion with spirit, or the dissolution of the ego into spirit, which is also death. When you die, you're just shedding the body, and the soul is coming to unify with God or spirit. You're becoming one with spirit when you die, or you're dissolving into consciousness, which is all there is. The ego and death are both illusions, they're both delusions, um, and they both don't actually exist. They're part of concept. So concept is it's a minute dimension of intelligence, so, or even intellect. So if you can recede, which is also what the various different controlling systems want as well. They want to keep you in a very minute state of mind, so that they can control you, and keep you in destitution, poverty, spiritual poverty, things like this, which is type of a type of like disconnected state, but there is no disconnection. So it's more so just a type of, it's their drama, which we all have as well. We all share that drama. It's God, because it's all there is playing a entertainment. The entertainment is the drama, right? But the moment that you integrate yourself from the unconscious to the conscious, you are then the God who is able to easily realize that things are a drama, so that you can kind of lift or lighten yourself beyond the drama, so you won't get so encapsulated by it. More so you're conscious of it, so you're left in a higher state of awareness if you're able to go to that process of integration, right? Which is also coming into enlightenment, because there's an illumination with the various different balancing taking place, because it's all balancing as well, right? Which is meditation as well. Meditation is self-centering. Anything that's throwing you out of your center is only teaching you how to come back into your center, so that you can keep your center, keep your balance for longer periods of time, until you're able to dissolve time consciousness into a timeless, um, which is coming into physical immortality through the various different divine transmutations that are offered, by the unseen, the angels, or the gods, or the spirit guides. All of these beings are going to present themselves to you when you are ready. Until then, you're training yourself to stay in your center long enough to be able to connect with them. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to connect with them if you're imbalanced, right? Because imbalancing yourself is like misaligning the antenna. On your TV or on your radio, you have antennas. You have to align them perfectly to be able to get the picture. Whenever you misalign them or imbalance the antenna, you lose the connection. So whenever you balance yourself or center yourself or align yourself, you can connect yourself with the higher realms. And that is also where the angels, the spirit guides, and the divine masters are. And that's why they keep you, or that's why they try and keep you from the purities, or the purifying, which is one of those purifications, is the process of meditation, or is the state, which is an entrance or an entrance into the higher planes, because you're entrancing yourself during meditation. So anybody that's telling you that you should not is somebody who is avoiding their own nature, which is a disease. It's a diseasefulness to avoid your own nature. Or you are in a diseaseful state when you are trying to avoid your own nature, but you can't avoid your own nature because you are nature. And it's inevitable that you fall back into the rhythms of nature, no matter how far you stray off, because that's also part of the natural design, the straying, right? So, finding your balance, finding your center, which is a natural thing, can be taken up consciously, right? Um, and that's meditation. You don't need to sit and meditate because it's a state that naturally is realized. You can be playing video games and you can be in a meditative state. You can be walking on the street and you can find yourself in a meditative state. You can make music, and that's definitely a meditative state, right? So, many different meditations. Um, and they're all in trances, right? And entrancing is the entrance, the gateway, the doorway to God. The entrance to the kingdom within is the entrancement, which is the dance, the rhythm, meditation, integration, the processing, you know. So so let me see. Collection is spirit, collective unconsciousness, consciousness, the integration from the unconsciousness to the consciousness, conscious state is leaving you in enlightenment. You can lucid dream, you can do this, but some people can't. I struggle with this. I gotta really effort myself into lucid dreaming, but it's gonna come anyway. So some people are natural at it. Some people are natural dream walkers, right? But you can also train yourself to be able to do it, because that the people who are natural at it had to train themselves in other lives to be able to be a lucid dreamer in this life. The karma just carried on so that they can work on this space time to do other things, right? So let me see. The integration is inevitable. It happens by itself because it's literally a natural process. But you can intend it and accelerate it, right? Which is the alchemy. It's the transmutation, or the transmutation can come about through the alchemy that can have itself, right? So the alchemy is the chemical translation of that whole process of integration, right? So many different ways to really understand what's going on when coming to a self-realized state. But the whole thing is that you're coming to a self-realized state, right? Which is coming from unconsciousness to consciousness, maybe even back and forth, you know, which is entrancement, because it's kind of both, you know, because it's kind of like a spiraling effect, and you learn from going back and forth, unconscious to conscious, until you're purely conscious, right? Which is death as well, because when you die, you are dissolving away as a physical body, and the soul, or the soul sheds the body, and you are able to commune, or you're able to join with God or spirit or consciousness, right? So what's happening, if you're conjoining with consciousness or dissolving into primordial consciousness, then you're coming into consciousness, right? You're becoming a conscious being when you die. But you can do that now before you actually are going through that process of death, right? But maybe, well, death doesn't actually exist. Uh, and if we're talking about like um, from like a central axis type of point of view or experience, then death never happened or never happens. More so, just the integration happens, right? And the death is like the peripheral of the dream that keeps kind of telling you that the ego dies, you know. It's very hard to explain because it's kind of paradoxical, or not paradoxical, more so you can't talk about it because words don't touch upon the process, because it's a process beyond word, you know. When you die, you lose your ability to talk, because talking is very minute when you really think about it, um, because it's just little soundings, right? But that whole process is beyond the the ability to speak. So it's hard to talk about, right? But you can definitely envision it a little bit better, and you can definitely experience it to its totality, right? Which is what you want to do. You want to experience it to its totality, because that is the intent of the integration, or the intent to become a self-realized being or an enlightened being, right? Which happens of itself. So you can intend, or you can just let it happen, because it's going to happen inevitably, which is also death. You're going to die. That's the inevitability. But the death doesn't actually exist. So what is left is God, or consciousness, immortal life, or immortality is what is left if you just remove death as a concept, right? Because that is what it is. It's a concept that's been given to you, so you can entangle with it and stagnate, you know, and contemplate. Otherwise, you would be a liberated being, and you would be working on the higher planes, which you are. It's just that you got entangled in identification, right? So collect yourself, come into a collected state of realization, collect yourself, and shift yourself into realization, and you come into a collected self-realized state, which ripples out morphogenetically, subconsciously, and then ripples back in actuality, right? Which is a transmutation. Um, a revolution is what it is, because it's it's a revolving. The rippling is a type of revolving, uh, or a type of revolution, right? So that's gonna be it for today's video. I do thank everybody for watching once again. Peace out, one love, and have a great evening.